Seniors, stop eating these 7 worst fruits. They are destroying the strength of your legs. As we enter our later years, the health of our legs not only determines our ability to move, but also directly impacts our daily quality of life. Many older adults diligently exercise, take calcium supplements, or even turn to physical therapy, but still can't understand why their legs are getting weaker, experiencing pain, or losing flexibility. Surprisingly, the culprit could be the seemingly harmless fruits they eat every day. While fruit is a valuable source of nutrition, not all types are suitable for seniors, especially when their digestive, circulatory, and musculoskeletal systems have started to speak up. Some fruits contain high amounts of sugar, strong acids, or inflammatory components that gradually weaken the legs over time without you even realizing it. So, what are the 7 fruits that are considered the silent enemies of leg strength? Join me, a nutrition expert, as we explore these fruits and avoid the mistakes that are quietly eroding your health every day. Grapes. When it comes to a fruit that's both delicious, easy to eat, and rich in antioxidants, most people think of grapes. Those plump, sweet clusters of grapes seem like the perfect option to boost your vitamin intake and strengthen your immune system. However, for older adults, especially those with joint, bone, or leg health concerns, grapes can be a double-edged sword if not consumed properly. From a nutritionist's perspective, I've observed a common misconception. All fruits are good for you. You can eat as much as you want. The truth is, each type of fruit has its own unique nutritional profile, and it's important to understand that older adults no longer metabolize sugars and nutrients as efficiently as when they were younger. Grapes, despite being rich in antioxidants like resveratrol, contain a significant amount of natural fructose. When this sugar accumulates regularly, it can lead to subtle but serious consequences, especially in the legs, knees, and ankles, areas that bear the most pressure during movement. Fructose can cause a sudden spike in blood sugar levels after consumption, which prompts the body to release more insulin to balance it out. For older adults, this excess insulin release can trigger inflammatory reactions within the body, one of the leading causes of joint pain, stiffness, and tissue damage. Many of my patients are surprised to find that persistent knee and ankle pain is linked to an overly healthy diet, where grapes are a frequent dessert choice. Moreover, chronic inflammation from high blood sugar can lead to a decrease in collagen and connective tissue, critical structures that help maintain the flexibility and mobility of joints. This explains why many people feel their legs getting weaker, harder to stand for long periods, getting fatigued quickly, or experiencing falls without clear reasons. What's even more concerning is that grapes are often consumed more than other fruits due to their small size, ease of consumption, and the fact that they don't need to be peeled. Just a few small bunches a day can push sugar intake beyond a safe threshold, especially for those who are less active or have underlying conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, or gout. So, should you completely eliminate grapes from your diet? The answer is no. You don't have to avoid them entirely, but it's crucial to control the amount you consume. If you love the taste of grapes, opt for small portions, favor dark or red grapes, which have higher antioxidant levels, and absolutely avoid eating them on an empty stomach or at night, when the body has difficulty processing sugars effectively. Lastly, remember, the health of your legs doesn't just rely on exercise or calcium supplements, but on the small choices you make in your daily meals. Don't let seemingly harmless fruits like grapes quietly weaken the foundation that supports you. A small change in your portion today could be a solid step toward a healthier, more flexible future. Overripe bananas. In the journey of caring for elderly health, many still believe that bananas are one of the completely safe fruits. Easy to digest, rich in fiber, and convenient to eat, bananas have long been a staple in the daily diets of many seniors. However, few realize that consuming overripe bananas can negatively affect joint health and mobility, especially in the legs, which bear the full weight of the body. The riper a banana becomes, the higher its natural sugar content. When the banana peel starts showing brown spots or turns black, it is a sign that glucose and fructose levels have increased significantly. Consuming too much sugar, even from fruit, still causes the body to face the risk of uncontrollable weight gain. For seniors, just a few extra pounds can put tremendous pressure on the knees and ankles, joints that have already aged over time. What's more, weight gain disrupts the balance of body weight distribution while moving, leading to joint pain, numbness, and reduced flexibility. Many people begin to feel heaviness in their legs, and walking or standing is no longer as comfortable as before, but they may not realize that the culprit could be the overripe banana they eat every day. In addition to high sugar content, bananas are also rich in potassium, a mineral essential for the body. However, excessive consumption of potassium can lead to electrolyte imbalances. This is particularly concerning for older adults, as kidney function declines with age, making it harder to excrete excess potassium. This can increase the risk of arrhythmia, muscle weakness, and unexplained fatigue. Another point to note is that many people have the habit of eating bananas on an empty stomach or as a snack in the evening. This is a time when blood sugar levels can spike suddenly, while the aging body can no longer process glucose as efficiently as before. This not only affects metabolism, but also subtly damages joint structure, causing inflammation and prolonged pain. Of course, bananas are not a food that needs to be completely eliminated. But as a nutrition expert, I always recommend that seniors choose bananas that are moderately ripe, not too soft, and limit consumption to 1 banana per day. It's also essential to combine bananas with other foods to help mitigate the impact on blood sugar levels. Eating them the right way allows you to benefit from bananas' fiber, vitamin B6, and magnesium content without harming the musculoskeletal system. In conclusion, even small food choices can make a big difference in senior health. Don't let complacency and familiar habits negatively affect your legs, the foundation for each steady step in daily life. A small adjustment today can lead to noticeable benefits tomorrow. Ripe mangoes. Some foods are deeply connected to childhood memories, to the flavors of summer, and to the sweetness of peaceful afternoons. And ripe mangoes are one of them. The rich sweetness, aromatic fragrance, and juiciness make mangoes a favorite fruit for many people, especially in middle and old age, when eating habits tend to favor foods that are soft, easy to digest, and delicious. However, behind the allure of ripe mangoes lies the potential for significant impacts on joint health and mobility in older adults, if not consumed in moderation. Ripe mangoes contain a very high amount of natural sugars, especially sucrose and glucose. For younger individuals, the body can easily regulate these sugars through physical activity and fast metabolism. But for older adults, the ability to regulate insulin, the hormone responsible for lowering blood sugar, begins to decline. Eating a large amount of ripe mango can trigger a sudden increase in insulin production. This process doesn't just affect blood sugar levels. It also causes subtle inflammatory reactions in the body, especially in the leg joints, the areas that bear the most weight during movement. Inflammation doesn't always present clear external symptoms. It silently accumulates, weakening the structure of cartilage and causing a sensation of stiffness, mild pain that lingers, especially in the morning upon waking or after sitting for long periods. Many people mistakenly believe that this is a normal sign of aging, but few realize that consuming excessive ripe mangoes over time could be one of the contributing factors. Furthermore, mangoes have a relatively high glycemic index, GI, which means they can cause a rapid spike in blood glucose levels right after eating. For older adults who are already at higher risk for chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or arthritis, a sudden increase in blood sugar can exacerbate inflammation, swelling, and joint degeneration. Another point to note is that mangoes are often eaten as a dessert or in the evening, when the body is less active and metabolism slows down. This results in the sugars accumulating for a longer period without being used for energy, and instead, they are converted into excess fat. As a result, there may be a slight weight gain, which is enough to put additional pressure on the legs, something older adults should absolutely avoid. So, should we completely eliminate mangoes from our diet? Not necessarily. Mangoes still offer many benefits, such as providing vitamin C, vitamin A, and antioxidants. However, the key is to control the amount you eat. No more than half a mango at a time, avoid eating them in the evening, and try to pair them with high-fiber, low-sugar foods to balance the impact. Joint and leg health doesn't only depend on exercise, it is also shaped daily by the food choices we make. Pay closer attention to what you put into your body, because sometimes the things you love the most can quietly affect your ability to walk steadily in the future. A little moderation today will reward you with flexibility and comfort in every step you take tomorrow, and that is absolutely worth it. Watermelon. Just hearing the name watermelon evokes a sense of coolness and refreshment. The juicy, sweet pieces are always associated with the feeling of hydration and cleansing, especially during hot days. For older adults, watermelon is a popular choice because it's easy to chew, easy to swallow, and leaves the body feeling light after a meal. However, behind its seemingly harmless exterior, watermelon can silently affect joint health and mobility if consumed improperly or in excess. At first glance, watermelon seems like the ideal fruit. It's high in water content, low in fat, and rich in vitamin C and several antioxidants. But what many fail to notice is that watermelon has a relatively high glycemic index, GI, meaning it can cause a rapid spike in blood sugar levels after eating, even though the total amount of sugar may not be very high. However, for older adults, whose ability to regulate blood sugar declines with age, a sudden rise in blood sugar after eating watermelon can trigger an inflammatory response in the body. When inflammation occurs, even at a mild level, the joint tissues, especially in the legs, will be the first to feel the effects. Many people begin to notice their legs feeling stiff, with difficulty moving, or a sensation of pressure on their legs when walking. These symptoms are often dismissed or blamed on aging, and few realize that the habit of eating too much watermelon daily may be contributing to them. Another factor to consider is the very high water content in watermelon, which can dilute the concentration of minerals in the blood, especially if consumed in large quantities in the evening or after physical activity. Additionally, watermelon has a cooling property, meaning it can make the body feel cold. When eaten in excess, especially early in the morning or late in the evening, it can lead to stomach discomfort, digestive issues, and poor blood circulation to the lower limbs. This inadvertently reduces the nourishment of the leg joints, causing them to weaken over time without obvious signs. So, how can you still enjoy the taste of watermelon without negatively affecting your health? The answer lies in moderation. Limit your intake to 2 to 3 small pieces per serving, avoid eating it on an empty stomach, and refrain from consuming it in the evening. At this stage in life, every food choice can either be a step forward or a step backward for your health. Watermelon is not bad, but when consumed improperly, it can quietly contribute to the weakening of your legs without you even realizing it. Eat with understanding, so each bite of fruit brings real benefits, rather than hidden risks lurking beneath its cool, refreshing exterior. Pineapple. When it comes to fruits that stimulate the taste buds and aid digestion, pineapple often ranks at the top. Its balanced sweet and sour taste, strong aroma, and the refreshing sensation after each bite make it a delightful fruit to enjoy. Particularly for older adults, pineapple is often chosen as a post-meal dessert to aid digestion or as an ingredient in light dishes. However, there is one little-known fact. When not consumed correctly, pineapple can silently cause harm to joint health and mobility in seniors. The first reason lies in the high acidity of pineapple. This fruit contains a significant amount of citric acid and bromelain, a natural enzyme that helps break down protein. While beneficial for digestion, consuming too much pineapple, especially on an empty stomach, can irritate the stomach lining and hinder the absorption of calcium, a vital mineral for maintaining bone density and joint strength. Once calcium absorption is reduced, bones become more brittle, joints less flexible, and symptoms such as pain, knee discomfort, and numbness in the limbs will begin to appear more frequently. In addition, pineapple is considered a heating food, meaning that when eaten in large quantities or continuously for several days, it can disrupt hormonal balance and promote inflammatory reactions in the body. For older adults who may already be at risk for conditions like osteoarthritis, gout, or diabetes, this inflammatory response can lead to dull joint pain, mild swelling around the ankles, or stiffness in the joints, especially in the morning. Furthermore, the natural sugar content in pineapple is quite high, particularly when the fruit is fully ripe. A single sweet piece of pineapple can cause a rapid spike in blood sugar, which leads to an increase in insulin levels. This can damage the connective tissue around the joints if it happens frequently. One additional point that often goes unnoticed is that pineapple can interact with certain cardiovascular and anticoagulant medications commonly prescribed to older adults. The bromelain enzyme in pineapple enhances the absorption of certain active compounds, which may lead to side effects such as joint swelling, mild leg edema, or digestive disturbances, all of which directly affect mobility. So, how can you enjoy pineapple safely? My recommendation is to eat it in moderation, no more than 3.5 ounces, about 100 grams, per serving. Avoid eating it on an empty stomach, and never consume pineapple that isn't fully ripe. Additionally, it's best to pair pineapple with high-fiber or protein-rich foods to slow down sugar absorption and reduce the acidic effects on the digestive system. Leg health is not only determined by exercise or supplements, it is quietly nurtured through the food choices we make each day. For older adults, being cautious with fruits like pineapple is not about excessive restriction. It's about actively protecting mobility, so each step remains light and steady, no matter the age. Green apples. Among the list of fruits considered healthy, green apples always stand out as a top contender. With their thin skin, distinctive mild sourness, and crisp texture, green apples are often chosen as an ideal snack for older adults. Low in sugar, easy to store, and they provide a lasting sense of fullness. However, from a nutritionist's perspective, frequent consumption of green apples without proper understanding can lead to undesirable effects, particularly on joint health and mobility in seniors. One key point to note is the natural acidity in green apples, which is relatively high. This is what gives the fruit its characteristic mild tartness, and is also the reason many people consume them to aid digestion or curb appetite. However, consuming too many acidic foods can gradually disrupt the alkaline acid balance in the blood, leading to a reduction in bone density over time. The body is forced to draw calcium from the bones to neutralize the excess acid, weakening bones, making joints more susceptible to damage, and causing the legs to lose endurance. Moreover, green apples contain certain natural compounds that can irritate the digestive system in individuals with sensitive stomachs or those with gastrointestinal issues. When eaten, especially on an empty stomach, the acids in apples can increase gastric acid production, causing discomfort and a gnawing feeling. Another often overlooked factor is the skin of the green apple, which is where most of the antioxidants are concentrated. However, it is also where pesticide residues can accumulate if not properly washed. For older adults, whose immune systems are weaker, the buildup of these chemicals from seemingly harmless foods can contribute to metabolic disturbances, mild chronic inflammation, and an increased risk of joint pain, arthritis, and impaired mobility. While not as sweet as red apples, green apples still contain a certain amount of fructose. If consumed continuously throughout the day without control, they can cause a slight rise in blood sugar. This doesn't mean green apples are a culprit to be eliminated from the diet. On the contrary, when consumed properly, green apples can still be a nutritious addition for older adults. The recommendation is to eat them after a main meal. Avoid eating them on an empty stomach. Limit to 1 small apple per day and wash the skin thoroughly before eating. Additionally, pairing apples with nuts, yogurt, or protein-rich foods can help balance the intake of sugars and acids. At every stage of life, our food choices largely determine the quality of our daily activities. For older adults, healthy legs not only require exercise, but also a thoughtful and selective approach to familiar foods. Green apples, when consumed correctly, can still be part of the journey to maintain strong and flexible steps as the years go by. Oranges. We often think that a glass of orange juice every morning is the perfect way to start the day. It's true that oranges are rich in vitamin C, which helps boost immunity, beautify the skin, and aid digestion. However, when considering the diet for older adults, especially those dealing with joint and mobility issues, orange juice may not always be the safest choice. Many elderly patients I meet share one common habit. They maintain the routine of drinking orange juice or eating juicy oranges every day as a way to supplement nutrients and quench their thirst in a healthy way. But few realize that, although oranges are considered a good fruit, they can still have negative effects if consumed at the wrong time or in excessive amounts. Oranges have a relatively strong natural acidity. Consuming large amounts of citric acid every day, especially on an empty stomach, can irritate the stomach lining, leading to discomfort, bloating, or acid reflux. For older adults who have already begun to lose natural calcium, this is a significant concern as it increases the risk of osteoporosis and affects the strength of the leg joints. In addition, oranges contain a relatively high amount of natural fructose, particularly when they are ripe and sweet. Consuming a high amount of sugar in a short period can spike blood glucose levels, triggering mild inflammation in the soft tissues around the joints. These reactions may not be overt, but they silently contribute to stiffness, pain, and even mild swelling in the knees, ankles, and feet after physical activity. Another factor that is often overlooked is the timing of consumption. Many people have the habit of drinking orange juice after dinner or before going to bed. However, this is when the body needs rest and metabolism slows down. This causes the sugar and acid in the orange juice to accumulate, creating a feeling of heaviness, bloating, and disturbing sleep. Therefore, if you are an older adult and want to maintain the habit of incorporating oranges into your daily diet, here are a few things to keep in mind. Eat oranges in the morning or early afternoon after a light meal, and avoid drinking undiluted orange juice or adding sugar. Only 1 small orange or a glass of diluted fresh orange juice should be consumed per day. Oranges are still a valuable fruit, but when consumed correctly, they truly support bone and joint health and help keep your legs strong over time. So, are you ready to change your eating habits to protect your healthy legs? These visually appealing fruits and tasty, nutritious foods can be beneficial, but if not used correctly, they can also affect your health in ways you might not expect. That's why understanding the impact of each food is the key to maintaining joint health, especially as we age. Remember that not every food is suitable for everyone, and everything requires balance. With a balanced diet, regular exercise, and a healthy lifestyle, you can maintain flexibility and strength in your legs. If you find this information helpful, don't forget to like and share with friends and family so we can all stay healthy together. Leave any questions or share your experiences in the comments below. I'm excited to hear from you and join you on your healthy journey.